Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here, and today you're a hero in search from dawn to dusk to level up as spellcasters and warriors in the hope that you can defeat the evolving monsters and win their loot, complete personal adventures, and achieve greatness in finishing quests. Journey Adventure Quest is a card drafting strategy game for 2 to 6 players. It takes about an hour to play, is for ages 12 and up, and is published by Triceratops Games. It's on Kickstarter right now, so I'm going to show you how the game works, and I'll see you on the other side. This is a Kickstarter preview, so all the art and components you see here are not final, they're prototypes, so check the Kickstarter link in the description of this video to see all the most up-to-date art and components. Journey Adventure Quest is played over 3 journeys, and each journey has 2 days that you're going to be going through. And over the course of the game, you're going to be fighting level 1, level 2, and level 3 monsters. You're going to be trying to complete different quests at the end of the game, like having a certain amount of armor, or knowledge, or certain icons from different guilds of cards that you'll be collecting. Now, each player is going to have their own board where they're going to be drafting cards and playing them, because each of the days you're going to draft and play 3 cards, 1 at dawn, 1 at noon, and 1 at dusk. But at the beginning of the game, you're also going to get 5 adventure cards, and you're going to select 3 of those. Now, these will be kept secret, but I have them face up now. These are going to give you different goals, like if you collect 4 spells by the end of the game, study the tomes, you'll get 5 points. I'll go more over these later, but think of these as hidden objectives for you to get points at the end of the game. Each player will also have a setup where you're going to be collecting different equipment over the game, like helmets and offhand and armor and weapons and spells and belts if you're playing over a certain amount of players. And you're going to be placing those types of equipment on here and stacking them. But at the end of the game, if you don't have any of a specific type, you'll actually lose points. So you do want to build up a little bit of everything. But as you'll see, there's some synergies between going heavy in 1 or 2 things. At the beginning of each journey, each player is going to get 7 journey cards, and through a drafting process, you're going to be selecting cards. So at the beginning of the first day, once you get these 7 cards, you're going to decide which one to keep. Like normal card drafting, you're going to select one, you're going to keep it, you're going to pass all the rest of the cards to the player in a direction of a navigation token. In this case, it's going to be clockwise. You'll get some more cards and you'll do the same thing just like normal card drafting. But these cards do all sorts of different things. Now, if you notice in the upper left, these have different icons, and these have to do with the setup that I showed you. This one is going to be a helmet. If you end up getting this one, it'll end up going on your helmet. This will end up going on your weapon. So this tells you where it's going to be equipped. Now, I placed this here. This was one of my secret adventures, and I wanted to show you that these are different guilds, as I mentioned earlier, but the cards sometimes will have guilds. So I need 3 of these and 4 of these. Well, here's one of those and here's one of those. So thinking of long-term goals, you might be drafting cards for longer-term goals. Remember, I need 4 of these, 3 of these, and 2 of these. I can get them at any time throughout the game. It doesn't matter which order, but I need to have at least as many of these, of all of these, at the end of the game in order to get these 7 points. So I've been thinking about long-term planning and focusing on things like that. Or, hey, I know I got to get 2 spells, and I'll go here. Now, when I was drafting these, I also smartly said, hey, I want to work on spells here as well, because at the end of the game, this one spell card is not only going to go to this, but to this. So even at the beginning of the game, when you're drafting your adventures, you're doing sort of a synergy thing, where, hey, this one card's going to be able to go to both of these. That's really smart. So I drafted, intelligently my adventures, so maybe I do take this spell card. And I'll take that card and place it face down on dawn, and then I'll pass all the cards I didn't take to my neighbor. I'll be getting more cards from my other neighbor, and again, I'll do the same thing. I'll select one card, place it face down on noon, pass the rest of those cards, I'll get more, and I'll draft a 3rd card. Now, once you finish the 3rd card there in dusk, you're done with drafting in the first day of the journey. So after drafting all of the cards in the first day, my board might look something like this. Then everyone simultaneously will flip their dawn card, and they have 2 choices. You can either pay the cost, and this helps remind you where the cost is. I would have to pay a coin. And you'd simply take one of the 3 that you started the game with and put it back in the supply. Now, instead of paying for it and then equipping it, which I'll show you in just a moment, you can just discard the card and get 2 coins. That's a way to kind of get money if you didn't have any good, if you had a card that wasn't really going to benefit you, or if you were just really short on money. But let's say I did pay for it. Now, a couple of things that happen right away. I would gain 4 health, but each other player would gain 1 health. Now, over the course of the game, you're going to be taking, some of them will cost blood, and then sometimes you'll take damage from monsters, and you'll be taking blood in the form of these cubes. Now, anytime you gain blood, you get these. Anytime you gain health, you take these away, because at the end of the game, every one of these you get are negative. So by getting health early in the game, that didn't necessarily help me. So here's some interesting choices in the game. Why would I want to play this early? I'm not really going to benefit from this. True, but this card is going to give me knowledge, and knowledge is pretty heavy in the monster I'm going to be fighting at the end of this journey. Now we'll go over how this works later, but this horrifying owl bear that we're going to be fighting at the end of this journey we're going to need 2 knowledge to be smarter, to outsmart them. So I'm working for a little bit longer term thing here and not worrying too much about the health that I'm not gaining. Now, because it's a spell, I'll place it just like this, and we'll show you later how different things stack in this game. After everyone's resolved their dawn card, everyone will flip and resolve their noon card. Now again, normally you gotta pay things. This one does not cost anything. And it's a treasure chest. I would just gain 4 coins. Now, again, most of this is done simultaneously, but if there are interactions where timing matters, there's a specific flow you go in first, like first you pay for it. Then if you deal damage or things like that, you do that next. If someone's gonna heal, you do that after that. And if you're gonna steal things from other players, you do things after that. Now there are 2 ways to play this game, competitive or non-competitive. I'm showing you the non-competitive way first. And there's different cards that will be used and substituted in or out, whether you're playing one of those 2 modes. One of the main things are whether the quests are going to be, up for everybody, or you're fighting against each other. We're doing the non-competitive mode. Again, we'll go over more of this later. And once you're done with the noon card, everyone will flip up their dust card, pay for it. Now, why did I get that treasure chest? Because I needed some coins. I'm going to start paying for this, katana. It's a weapon, has 2 attack, has 1 knowledge. And it shows me which guild this is from. And so I can pay my 2 coins and I can equip this. And so again, because it's a weapon, it's gonna go right here. Now that's the end of my first day. Now if you remember, we only played 3 cards, but we were dealt 7 at the beginning of this journey, and each journey is 2 days. So you're gonna have some cards that were passed to you at the end of the day there, and you're gonna have 4 more cards here. You're gonna go through and draft again. Take 1 card, figure out which one you want, place it on dawn, pass these, again and again, because at the end of this, you're gonna end up having 3 more cards. That's a second day. Each journey is 2 days. There'll be 1 card left over that you discard. So essentially doing 2 rounds of drafting, or 2 days of drafting in each of the 3 journeys. Then you flow through it the same exact way. So let's say we played this for our first card this day, and dawn. We paid our 2 coins, and it's gonna give us 3 defense. It's an offhand weapon. And here now we say we play a helmet. Now, this helmet's very interesting. We had to take a blood, and we had to pay 2 coins. This gives us an attack, a defense, and it will give you 3 points at the end of the game. But it also temporarily gives us -2 knowledge. Now remember, the owl bear that we're gonna fight, we need 2 knowledge. We have 1 here, and we have 1 here, but if we do this, it sort of cancels those out. But whenever you add another weapon to something, or another card in the right spot, it's going to stack. And it's really interesting because these are all temporary, but these stay. So when you stack anything in this game, it goes like this. And this is really cool because A, it's getting us 2 points. It gets us a knowledge, and temporarily it gives us an extra defense. So this actually added a knowledge and defense, and it took away -2 knowledge. So this was a great order to play these in. And of course you can see the guilds that are there that were actually part of one of the adventures that I drafted. If you remember this at the beginning of the game, hey, I needed blue, I needed red, I've got those, great. So you're working towards short-term and long-term goals all at the same time. Now, after everyone's done that, the second day, you're gonna go and you're gonna fight a monster. Now, each hero will fight the monster individually with no help or hindrances from any of the other heroes. So we need to have, in order to defeat it, it has 2 health. So we need to have at least 2 attack, we need to have at least 2 knowledge to outsmart it, but it's gonna end up doing 1 attack towards us as well. Now, if you defeat it, and all players that defeat it are gonna get 2 points and 3 coins for the bounty for this level 1 monster. Now, there's plenty of monsters that come with the game, plenty of level 1, 2s, and 3s. I'll show you some of those a little bit later. Now, what do we have for attack? We have 1, 2, 3. We needed at least 2, so we beat it on attack. What do we need for knowledge? We need 2. We have 1, 2. Now, we would have beat it with that. Now, when you play the spell cards, this shows that you actually would get 1 of these tokens, and if needed, you could spend these to be knowledge, but we actually don't even need to spend it because we already have 2. So because we have at least 2 attack against its health, and we have at least 2 knowledge, we're able to defeat the horrifying owlbear. and therefore we get the 2 points and 3 coins. Now, whether or not you defeat the monster still will attack you. So in this case, we have 1. Now, you'll never die. You'll just take essentially blood, which are minus points if you don't get rid of them with health by the end of the game. Now, this one has 1, so you need to have at least 1 defense. We happen to have 2 defense, so we're in good shape. Actually, we have 3, 4, 5 defense. We're in really good shape from a defense standpoint. So we do defend and we're fine. However, let's say we had no defense. You take, or we didn't have as much as what this has. You take what their attack is, and you subtract how much defense you have, and the difference you take these. So in this case, if we had no defense, we would just take 1, for example. So it's that minus your defense, and if you don't have enough, you take that many. Again, those are minus points at the end of the game. Now, in addition to that, normally in the competitive mode, there's loot. And this loot is actually tied to this specific monster. You'll see what it is. It actually, now this is an offhand. It's going to give me a temporary attack, a point, and it's going to, the person that gets this is the one that has the most knowledge. Now, again, we're playing the non-competitive version here, but even in the non-competitive version, many groups still prefer to also play with these, the loot here. And this means that whoever has the most knowledge will get this, which is a point. They'll get to equip this, which is a temporary attack, and they're going to gain 3 health. So you're sort of fighting over that. And if people tie, no one would actually get that, but instead the tied players would either get 2 coins or 1 point. Now you'll be going on to the second journey. Remember, there's 3 journeys. Each journey is 2 days, essentially 2 rounds of drafting. And so we go to level 2. So interestingly enough, as things stack, so do the monsters. Now look at this. This had temporary 1 knowledge. This is going to stack like this. And now this has 3, 4, 5, 6 health. You need 4 knowledge, and it's going to attack 1, 2, 3. Isn't that cool? But the bounty is, you're going to get this and this here. Essentially giving you 5 points, 2 coins, and 2 health if you beat this pulverizing stone golem. And of course, this one could have some loot as well. In the third journey, you guessed it, there's going to be a level 3 monster. Now, as these stack, not only does this one now have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 health, and 7 knowledge, and 9 attack, but you're going to get 6, 7, 8 points, all these coins, and possibly this loot. But also, as you stack them, you actually also stack the names. Like originally, this was a horrifying owl bear and a pulverizing stone golem. But now, this is a horrifying, pulverizing, invincible Hydra. So it's kind of cool how they all stack. And these do the same thing. Like, my helmet is a smoldering hurricane angelic wing glory. Now, at the end of the third journey, you're going to count up your points. Now, you're going to get, you've collected points throughout the game. You're going to get a point for every 3 coins you still have at the end of the game. You're going to get points for these quests. Now here, if you've reached a certain level of knowledge, you'd get a certain amount of points, or a certain level of armor there, or a certain amount of cards with that guild on there. And I've showed you earlier that those are sort of in the upper right here. So now these are different every game as well. There's tons of different cards and different variability. And again, if you're playing with the competitive mode, each of these cards would be not this way. They would be competitive. So instead of being able to get 3, 5, or 7 points for 6, 9, or 12 knowledge, the knowledge holder now is first place gets 7, second place gets 3. So it's more interactive. So if you want to compete for rewards, you use this style of card. If you want the non-competitive version, do that. And there's one of these for each of the cards that's in the game for these different quests. Then don't forget you got your adventure cards. Now remember, we had these 2 cards, 2 of the 3, that wanted spells, 2 and 4. Now anytime you stack a spell, it's really cool, because when you stack a spell, not only do you get whatever's here, which is knowledge, you're also going to get whatever is below it, whatever's stacked from before. So it's sort of like engine building. So here we're going to get 1, 2, 3 knowledge and 2 defense. So here you'd get these temporary tokens that you would use from these cards, and you use them, and then you end up discarding them after you fight the monster. So after you scored the points you've got, points for some coins, points for some quests, points for your secret adventures, and any minus points from blood or any sections that you didn't put any cards on. Add up your points. Whoever's the most is the winner. Now let's take a look at some of the other monsters. Here's some other level 1 monsters: menacing hatchling, taunting goblin, corrosive blob, and predatory harpy. Here's some level 2 monsters: dreadful manicore, protective Cerberus, enraged worm, and ominous unicorn. And here's some more level 3 monsters: destructive lava golem, shrouded yeti, ancient swamp dragon, and ruthless minotaur. Now keep in mind that even if you play with the same monster again in a different game, it's gonna be different depending on which monsters came before it, because everything is sort of stacking on top of each other. Now the last set of cards I haven't shown you yet are the belt cards. These are used with the higher player counts, but you can see some examples here. The volcanic control band, pretty cool. It gives you 2 knowledge and a coin and a point. Well, there you have Journey Adventure Quest, and as I showed in the overview, it's a simultaneous game where you're drafting and playing cards and building up all your equipment and taking out monsters, going through quests, and trying to get the most points. Now, if you want to see all the different pledge levels and the final artwork and components, you can click the link below me in the description of this video. Now, that's going to take you directly to the Kickstarter project page, and I'm sure that Triceratops Games would love your support.